Back to another great edition of my Grue Rume Show. For the Grue Rume Show today, got a very awesome guest, and she is a film director, and she has a new film, an action thriller film called Sniper: Last Stand. And she also did a bunch of horror movies, and as you all know by now, I'm a huge horror fan. So I'm going to ask her a couple questions about the horror films that she did in the past, but most of the questions will be focused on the new movie Sniper. For all the horror fans, you'll have a couple questions in there for Banana Splits horror movie and the remake of Slumber Party Massacre that she directed to both of them. I am Rocco Cross. I am the host at Stutters. I am the host of the Groom Show. And my interview with the 5 minute time when you come on. And I am Rocco Cross. I'm the host at Stutters, so definitely stay tuned, my gruelings, and it's going to be a fun time. All right, welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Definitely. So I guess the first question I want to start out asking I guess it's a basic question is when did you start making films and why did you want to do it?
Oh, great question. Well, I'm from a little town in Canada called Winnipeg.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and in Winnipeg we have an organization that's been around for a really long time called the Winnipeg Film Group, and it's a cooperative of filmmakers. And so I originally joined that cooperative, and the idea behind it is that it's like a community. Everybody works on each other's short films, and they're constantly making short films every month. And one day you'll be operating the camera, the next day you'll be the boom operator, the next day you'll be sourcing the costumes or driving the equipment truck, and we all just take turns. And then after you've worked on a few short films and you want to write and direct a short film, you have this crew to pull on, to draw on, and everyone that you volunteered for, they will come and volunteer and make your film with you. um, and so I became a member of that group, and I made, I think, probably a dozen short films at the Winnipeg Film Group. Got really addicted, and as I'm sure a lot of, filmmakers have probably told you, you get bitten by that bug as a director,
Mhm.
and you just really can't stop.
Yeah, one of my favorite wrestlers. I don't know if you follow wrestling, but Chris Jericho is from there, from Winnipeg. Like he's one
Oh,
of my favorite wrestlers. Yeah,
yeah. What are we known for? We've got hockey, wrestling, and maybe the Winnipeg Film Group. Some people know it.
definitely. Yeah, and you're directing an action film. And when did your passion start for action films? Like, what are some action films that inspired you?
Well, I love action films, and I think it's because it's one of the ways I bonded with my dad when I was a kid. We used to watch action films together. So, we'd watch
Oh, nice.
action films on TV, and we'd go to the theater to see the newest action films, and he really loved James Bond. So I went to every James Bond movie that came out with him, and we would rent action movies together. So I've always really enjoyed a good car chase or a good battle
Yeah.
scene. And we're living in a time of amazing action films, with the
Mhm.
Bourne movies and the John Wick movies. There's just so much incredible action and stunt work that's being done these days. So it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I mostly do horror movies, and my horror movies
Yeah,
usually have
and I
stunts.
love horror.
Oh, great. So they usually have like a stunt sequence here and there, and I was also excited to dig in and work with stunt performers, but this is the first time I've done a full action film, and I was actually able to pull on my stunt coordinator from my last two horror movies, Annalie Mueller. She came and joined me on this new sniper movie, and was my coordinator for all the giant battle scenes. So it was really fun for us to dig into it.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Nice. And how did you wind up coming on board for the film? Like like what drew you to the script?
Yeah, it was a weird number of coincidences. I was out in, I shot the movie in South Africa, in Cape Town. and I've shot quite a few movies there. So I was out in South Africa shooting a horror movie, and they knew that they were going to be bringing the next installment of the Sniper franchise to South Africa. They were going to shoot it in Cape Town, and so they were looking at a bunch of directors who had experience working here or who were local, and we interviewed, all of us for this job and pitched for this job, and I was thrilled to be offered the role of director. So I jumped at the chance because I just really wanted to be part of the Sniperverse, but also as soon as
Mhm.
I read the script by Sean Wathan, I thought it was one of the best action scripts I'd ever read. It was just so beautifully crafted, had amazing pacing, great character arcs, awesome fights. So I was really happy to come on board.
Nice, nice. And from what I saw, like you're the first woman to direct one of the sniper films, and how does that feel to be like the first woman to do it?
It feels pretty great, because, there are so many women who love action movies,
Yeah.
but we don't always get the opportunities to direct them. I think we are a little often underestimated in our ability to deliver action or our passion for action. So it was really nice to be the first. I know I won't be the last to be in here and to take on the story of Brandon Beckett and his battles and his amazing skills with a sniper rifle.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And how was it like on set, like to actual training and stuff to be a sniper, to shoot guns and all that stuff?
Well, in some ways, I was so lucky because I have returning cast. I have Chad Michael Collins and I have Ryan Robbins, and they've been in multiple sniper movies. And Chad knows his sniper rifle inside and out.
Yeah.
So I had two very, experienced actors. But, my movie's about a squad of soldiers. And so I had to find a way to make that squad feel like a real team and to bring everybody up to snuff with our, more veteran actors from the action franchise. So I organized a boot camp, a military boot camp for the actors. So they all came in early to rehearse and to train in
Nice.
loading their guns, clearing their rooms, assembling their kits, how to put on a tack vest, all the various little things that you need to know to be in a squad in an action movie. And they had a really good time. We had excellent trainers ex-military professionals who came to teach us, and our amazing team of armorers who put them through their gun training. And I also did a little training too. I went to
Oh wow.
the shooting range and I tried out our Shytac, sniper rifle, which is a very, very large rifle, and got to fire some rounds of that, some big 408 rounds. Did you get a sense of how that gun feels, when you fire a gun of that size and the impact it has on the person, the sound, the air, everything that happens when you fire that kind of gun. So it was a really great learning experience.
Yeah, it definitely sounds it. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And of course, without giving a lot away about the sniper film, is there any scene that you had the most fun shooting?
Oh, there's so many good scenes in this. Whew. Well, there is a scene early in the film involving the secret weapon that they're trying to um, prevent from being sold. Our villain is played by Arnold Vosloo, who I've been a huge fan of ever since The Mummy.
Yeah.
Really thrilled to have him come on and play Riker Kovalov, our arms dealer. So there's a big sequence around the squad closing in on Kovalov and his Weapon X. And that involved a lot of stunt work with a lot of wire rigging. And it was a really fun sequence to put together.
Nice, nice. And as I mentioned, like I'm a huge horror fan, and you did the Banana Splits horror film, and I watched like that film is awesome. Like I love it, and I mean to take a concept that was based on a kid's show and turn it into this bloody horror movie with the animatronics coming to life and killing you, like that was amazing. I loved it.
Thank you. Well, there's something so creepy about retro children's toys. You when you're in the secondhand store and or the antique store and you see some of these dolls and toys from other eras and they just are immensely creepy by nature. So it wasn't hard to imagine them going rogue and becoming dangerous and constructing that whole world. And that was another script I liked as well because it had some really nice, themes about, the magic of childhood
Hmm.
what it's like to be a little outsider child who's, got a huge imagination but not a lot of social skills, which I
Yeah,
think a lot of us can relate to.
definitely, yes. What was it hard at all to can control the animatronics, like the toys and everything? Because I mean, of course, to make it look good on the screen with them killing people and stuff.
Well, we had a pretty low oh we had a pretty lo-fi approach to it. We had, dancers in costumes, but they had a really great ability to mimic animatronic movement because of their dance background.
Okay.
And so it was fun putting together our little team of fluffy killers.
Yes. And then growing up, like I was a Slumber Party Massacre fan, and you did the rebooted the movie, and I thought that the reboot was just as good as the old one. And
Oh, thank you. Well, I was a huge fan of the original too. And that was
yes.
another just really interesting, franchise of films to join because it was the first horror franchise that was all written and directed by women.
Hmm.
It was very groundbreaking at the time, the Slumber Party 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
So when Sci-Fi Channel came together with Shout Factory and said, we want to do a new one and we want to honor that tradition. We want another woman writer and director team. And Suzanne Kiley was the writer. She's amazing. It was great to kind of, step into their shoes and continue their storytelling and try and, celebrate the things I loved about the series, but also update things that I felt a little outdated.
Nice, nice. And what is it about horror that you love most? Like a lot of the films you do are horror films, and what is it about horror that you love?
Well, horror movies like action movies, I think they're very similar in that they take you on a ride. It's like a roller coaster.
Hmm.
But a horror movie, we want to scare your pants off, and we want your heart to beat, and we want you to be terrified, but in a way that's is thrilling as an action movie, which just gets you on the edge of the seat, and gets you cheering.
Hmm.
They both take you out of your everyday life, and they can both feel, cathartic and satisfying because you get to be bigger than your everyday life. You get to experience a huge range of emotions that we don't experience in everyday life because actually we don't really want to be terrified in real life. but but it's great to be terrified for that person on the screen. It gets your heart thumping and it makes you feel alive.
No, yeah, definitely. I couldn't have said it better. It's definitely like a great ride, like a thrill ride.
Exactly, yeah.
And would you have the sniper film coming out. You have a horror film that's also coming out. And what do you think makes a good action film and a good horror film?
Mm. I think for both of them, you need a protagonist, you need a hero that you care about. You need to be invested in their journey. For horror, you want them to survive. For action, well, you want them to survive, but you want them to conquer and win as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So it comes down to, a great script and a great character, and then a great lead actor that the audience, falls in love with or identifies with, so that you can put that person, that character, in extreme peril, and the audience will be with them every second.
That's true. And and to me, the music in a film like makes the film, like especially with action films and horror films, like Halloween, I don't think would have been that scary if it wasn't for John Carpenter's song. And so like how do you know the sound that you want, like especially for the sniper film and for like your new horror film coming out? Like how do you know the score that you want, the sound that you want for the films?
You're right, music is incredibly important. And I find that from story to story, you want different kinds of music. You know, sometimes you
Hmm.
want something that feels orchestral. Sometimes you want things that feel electronic. But there's different ways to approach it. And for the Sniper: The Last Stand, one of the first things I asked the composers for was I wanted a theme for Brandon Beckett, our hero. I wanted a melody that would chart what he was going through in the movie. So, you know, he has this really interesting challenge in this movie where he's been a great soldier his whole life, and the soldiers around him on this mission want him to step up and become their leader, and he's not sure he's ready to be a leader, or if that's his true path. So this
Hmm.
is something that his story follows through the whole movie, and I said I want Beckett's theme to weave into our consciousness when he's facing these challenges and these questions. And the composers developed this beautiful leitmotif that has a bugle sounding, you know, like a call for the soldiers to come to camp. And whenever he's going through these journeys, it's just, you know, it's pretty subtle, but you just, this bugle is playing in the music mix that represents what he's thinking about in terms of his journey. So that was something that was really fun to construct.
Nice, nice. And I mean, this has nothing to do with the films, but what is your go-to karaoke song if you were going to sing one?
Oh my God. Oh, that's a really tough one. I think I really like The Dog Days Are Over by Florence and the Machine.
Oh yeah, okay, okay, yeah,
But
nice.
I have to be in good shape to do that one. She's got a massive vocal range, so it's not every night that I can belt that one out.
And and what about horror films? Do you have horror films that you like to watch, like a horror film that you love to watch most out of the rest of them?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have quite a few favorites that I go back to again and again. I'm a massive fan of The Shining, which I
Yeah.
watch pretty regularly because I never get bored of it. There's always something new and interesting and wonderful to find in The Shining. Um, I'm also a really big fan of Suspiria, the original and
Oh
the
yeah.
remake. I love them both for different reasons, and I find them super intriguing. I love the production
Mhm.
design of the original, and I love the cinematography of the remake. And you know, modern horror, I try to go and see as many horror movies as I can.
Okay, okay. And what did you love most about making this film, the Sniper Last Stand? Like, what did you love most about it?
I really loved the scale of it. You know, it was a big shoot. We had 28 days, and in addition to our main cast, we had hundreds of extras. And our main
Mhm.
location is a 400-year-old fortress in Cape Town called the Castle of Good Hope. And they gave us the run of this castle for the shoot, which was quite amazing. So we have battles in every corner of this castle, in the courtyard, on the rooftops, you know, in the alleys, in the tunnels under the castle, and inside the rooms. So the location was really really fun, and it was great to take the script and with, you know, would find a great battle scene and then find somewhere in this beautiful location a place to stage that battle scene. So one of the battle scenes that I thought worked out really well is we have a character named Hera. She's a Canadian soldier who's part of the team, which spoke to me. And she had a really good fight scene, and we didn't really know where to put it. And then on one of the location scouts, I stumbled across this abandoned fountain that no longer had
Okay.
water in it. It was, you know, just kind of not in use, but it was really cool, and it was surrounded by buildings and had a great shape to it. And so I showed it to my stunt coordinator, Anna Lee, and she said, "This would be a really great place to stage this if we just put." Like we don't fill it up like a pool, but you know we just put a little bit of water, enough in it to like cause some resistance that they have to fight through to do this hand-to-hand combat. Um, and that was a really great scene to put together.
Oh wow. Okay. Nice. Nice. And where could fans watch the film at?
Well, it's currently out on digital. So for rent or purchase on Apple, Amazon, Google, Sony, most of the platforms. And as of today, it came out in physical media. So the HD DVD is available on Amazon for everybody who loves physical media. I know I really love physical media and love to collect my DVDs and my Blu-rays. So it's out in that format too. And it'll be coming to streaming later in the year. So we'll be out there looking to expand our audience, and hopefully people will check it out.
Yeah, and of course the Banana Splits and Slumber Party Massacre movies are also available.
They sure are.
And the last question I'll ask you is where can fans follow you at?
I'm on Instagram as Desterhazy. I'm on TikTok. I'm also on Threads and Blue Sky. It's one of those times right now where it's like, what social media platform are people on? I'm on quite a few of them, but I'm mostly pretty much on Instagram regularly.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time and coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the great questions.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Good night.
Good night.